Welcome to Can We Just Get a Minute, the podcast where we talk honestly about motherhood, life, divorce, dating, and everything in between.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Evie.
And I'm Amy.
And we are missing Amanda today because two of her kids are sick.
School holiday illnesses.
Yep, so it's just the two of us. We're going to...
Double trouble.
Yep, just the two of us. We've got our midday marks.
Midday marks.
School holidays.
That I found in the back of my fridge.
We sent our daughters off to school holiday programs.
Yes.
And we're just having a midday mark.
Yeah,
because why not? Why not? So we're doing it without Amanda today, but she'll hopefully be back next week. So what happened this week, Amy, that made you need a minute?
Well, to be fair, the kids have been with their dad for the first week, and so I know.
How good.
I don't want to brag, but I spent pretty much all week last week sleeping.
Oh.
I had a massage, which was so intense that my jaw dislocated. No. But you know, when they get their elbows in there, that's when you really feel it. No pain, no gain. I had a sauna session. I just had some peace.
Nice.
So I got used to the peace, had like 7 days of peace. And then honestly, yesterday was Monday. And I messaged you girls last night. I'm like, how the fuck have you been doing this for a week? My nerves are frayed. Yeah. And I've had a week off. So, yeah, it made me realize how on edge you are. Your nervous system is kind of like on high alert all the time, isn't it?
Yeah. Sure is, especially in school holidays.
Yeah. Especially in winter school holidays.
Mine is related as well to school holidays. It's just the mum every 5 minutes. This morning, she wasn't, we only just dropped them off to school holiday program. And I'm trying to make the bed. I'm trying to, organize the groceries. And every little thing is just, Mum.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to take big breaths because school holidays is testing my patience.
It's a triggering word, isn't it? I feel like, Mum, it hits like a fight or flight nerve.
It does.
And even though it's all fine, the difference between just a bit of a whinge, a bit of a tension versus actual pain, it still hits the same way.
And it's like, Mum, and then I'm like, yes, can I have a drink of water? Get your own drink of water.
Yes.
That Mum was unnecessary, please.
You got your legs.
I'm looking forward to school next week.
Yes.
Bring it back.
Yes,
exactly. Anyway, today we are going to talk about divorce. So there's only one of us out of the three who have gone through this yet, like at the moment. Could happen, you never know. Hopefully not.
You ladies have a great husband.
We do. We have very good husbands. Yeah, you've been through it. So we are going to hear about Amy's story today, ask all the questions that, we're all wondering, or the questions that other people who are going through it would like to know. So we would love to know about your story. Do you want to take us through the story?
Yes. Well, when I was going through my separation, I didn't realize that it was 1 and 2 marriages end in divorce. And it never was that. So as I was growing up, parents who were separated, it seemed more unusual than it was, it was very common to have married parents and you growing up with separated parents. Yeah. It's sort of more, wasn't rare, but it wasn't as common as it is now. Every second child is living with separated parents, which is quite wild. And when you think of that statistic, it definitely helped to ease my nerves of breaking up a family, or what I thought was going to be sort of the worst thing that I could possibly do as a mother for my children. But I think as we all enter marriage, nobody wants to think that it's going to end in divorce, because you wouldn't get married.
You don't get married thinking you're going to get divorced.
No.
That's not.
No. And it's so hard because you think, if I could go back and see my younger self and everything like that. But actually, we fell in love straight away. It was very mutual. The sparks were flying. We had the same goals in life. We had a lot of fun together. So looking back, there were no red flags is what I would say. And I think that's the hardest part. Some people are like, oh, you guys were always so different. Yes, but it was like a complementary opposites at that point of our lives. We're both professionals. We both had different fields. I was studying a postgraduate nursing. He was studying in his field. So, we were both shining in our careers and in our lives. And it was we both wanted to get married. We both wanted to have the family, and we both saw it as something we were going to enter into for our lifetime.
Yeah.
And that's what I always dreamed of. That's what I always wanted. I've had quite a few relationships before then. And I knew what a relationship meant. I knew what was good communication, traits I really didn't want. I'd experienced some unhealthy dynamics and toxic relationships and things. So it wasn't like I was going in blind. I met I met him when I was 25. I've been a nurse for about 5 years, traveled to London. Oh, lived in the UK. I was, very competent, capable, independent woman,
Yeah. You'd already done all the travel and
Yeah.
had experience and relationship
Yeah,
and
that's
everything.
it.
So it wasn't like you were young and got married.
That's
you
it.
know? Yeah.
Yeah. And not that that's a bad thing, but when
No.
when you're sort of like, well, the likelihood of things, going
Yeah.
the way it did. And really, I want to summarize it because I could talk about it for years. But really what changed is we had a lot of change leading up to the wedding, and there's 5 major points in your life that you shouldn't make big decisions. It's going to be challenging for any relationship, and all 5 happened within 12 months. So my friend who was flatting with us, she passed away from breast cancer at 27. It was really devastating. We moved. We both had to change jobs because his job took us somewhere else. We got married and we had a baby.
That's a lot.
So it was all a lot. And we found out that we were moving a month before the wedding. And so we both, it was because of his job, but then I had to rethink about career. I was going to start midwifery, all the things. We decided we were going to go traveling to South America as a honeymoon, but we were like, oh, well, he's going to be locked into this job for 2 or 3 years. So we decided it was time to start a family. I was 27, almost 28. He was 30,
Yeah, time to do it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Box ticking.
Yep. Well, it's just like it felt right. We
Yeah.
were going to be in the community and things. And the dynamics shifted when I was 24 weeks pregnant and I went to a scan and my cervix was 1 centimetre dilated, which meant that I had to go on bed rest right then and there, which meant my wage stopped. I think I got whatever sick leave I had. And so I was earning no money. I was laying on the couch all day. I was still cooking and cleaning, but doing very light duties. In my mind, my nursing brain, my pediatric nursing brain, was like, every time I stand up, it's a simple gravity thing. He might come out.
Yeah.
If he's born now, he's going to have all these issues. My anxiety, even just standing up, was huge. And already, me earning money separated us further. Me not earning money suddenly separated us further. Me not having my own interests, like teaching yoga and studying, separated us further. Us living in a new community, it divided us even more. Me becoming more anxious and stressed about, is he going to be okay? What do I do? And him having a different philosophy of just going, don't worry about it, separated us even further.
Yeah.
And so
many things.
So many things.
So many little things. Well, not little, some are big, but so many little things that
and you
kind of added up to it.
That's it.
To the breaking point.
And you'd only know it by going through those things. You wouldn't have been able to tell how we would have both reacted.
Yeah.
And so we got through it. My son was born at 35 weeks, so you can imagine. I had to be in a hospital on bed rest for 2 weeks because I started going into labour at 29 weeks and I would have had to be helicoptered to Wellington. And he came and he was just like really grumpy, really stressed. And I was like, what is it? He said, do you know how hard it is driving from here to the hospital, which is about 30 minutes, every day after work? And I was lying there going, oh my God, am I going to have to go to a helicopter? And my baby's going to be born, he's going to have hearing difficulties and, glasses forever and cystic fibrosis. There were so many things. And I felt very abandoned and very alone.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt like the entire worry about our baby and what was going to happen landed on my shoulders, which made it significantly worse. So coming home with a neonatal baby, I was so stressed about, oh my gosh, is he going to breathe? You know what it's like bloody anyway.
Just having a bloody newborn anyway.
So I had a lot of anxiety and it wasn't shared kind of like, anxiety. I guess it was, I guess the emotional disconnect came about here where I was like, I just need a little bit of that reassurance, not silent treatment and eye rolls is what I got. And it felt very rejecting and very isolating. And because I had postnatal anxiety / depression, I mean, there were times that I was suicidal.
Yeah.
Because I felt so alone, so exhausted, and like it was just me.
Yeah, and he wasn't giving you the full support you needed.
No. Or even what I felt was basic emotional partnership, like, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Or there were elements of that, but the overarching theme was, it felt very much on my own. And it come back to, is it my mental health? And so I started leaning on my yoga, my spirituality. I started teaching women's workshops, postnatal classes, and I felt myself shining again. I felt myself coming back to me. And I think we're going to talk at another time about postnatal mental health. So I think that's impacted all of us and it impacts so many women. So we'll dive into that a little bit more.
Yes.
But I felt like that identity crisis, my mental health that was going through all sorts as it does when you have a baby, I was like, actually, no, these issues are still very much present in the marriage and my mental health is A-okay. So what else is it? Went to marriage counselling, did the love languages. Have you ever done that?
Not really, but
it's sort of like, how do you show your love and how do you give your love?
Yes, I think I know what I am.
What's your one?
How I like to probably show and receive is probably gifts.
Gifts, yes. Oh my God, and your gifts are so thoughtful.
But also, what's the other one of like doing things?
Acts of service.
Yeah, acts of service as well.
So it's an acts of service, receiving gifts, words of affirmation, physical touch, and...
What's the other one? I don't know.
But mine are touch and words of affirmation, like, you've done a good job or whatever. And his were acts of service. So he felt satisfied, but there was a lack of that physical touch. And that was a really big one, especially So we went through that, and counselling actually really highlighted our differences in a lot of things.
Wow.
And it was kind of confronting because as we kept going through the struggles, and he'd be like, this is how it is. And I'd be like, I just need a little bit more of that verbal reassurance. What's happening? Or, there were lots of different things that were coming up because it applied to everything in our life. The daily stuff, the going away, where we were going, who we were going with, how we showed up together when we were there. Instead of being a team, it felt like we were opposing. Yeah. Every social occasions and family and things. So it didn't feel like we were a united front. It felt like we were two individuals in a way that wasn't that supportive or... Yeah. However...
How many counselling sessions did you do?
Like 20.
Oh, wow. So you did quite a few.
Yeah, we did quite a few before we had Daisy. And I talked about what didn't feel like maybe we should have another child because of what we went through with Wilbur and how we're still kind of very much on uneven ground coming from that. But then we got an opportunity with his work to go overseas for a year. And actually, I think being taken away from the mindset of his workplace made it so that we only had each other to lean on.
Yeah, you had no one else around you. Yeah. And you only had each other.
I think that was actually quite a nice time in our relationship. And so we decided to try for Daisy. First try, Daisy flew in when she got her chance.
Yeah. Fertile people.
I know. And then I had a great support network over there, different people from different countries. COVID hit. Daisy was born in March 2020. Yeah. But it was nice because he couldn't work and he got to be there with our son. I breastfed Daisy, but thought, actually he can do the bottle feeds at nighttime. And I think it was really good. It gave him a good connection with our daughter and maybe more of an understanding. And I feel like that was a nice time. Oh my God, I'm going to cry. I know it's hard. I think, like I said, everyone who gets married never wants it to end in divorce. That wasn't ever what I wanted. And I think that's why I get angry sometimes. Yeah. I just wanted it to work. Yeah. I wanted it to be better. Hard. But you just become more yourself. Yeah. And that was just floating further and further away. So
and
anyway.
He wasn't willing to make the changes that you needed from him,
Well, I think it's emotional. Like I said, the differences of emotional capacity. It was sort of like, he was like, this is what it is. And the workplace and that reinforced that kind of distance. Yeah. But really, life is really about growing, isn't it? And expanding and even leaning into being uncomfortable. And I think it's also differences in what was that? I woke up at 3:00 in the morning because I was thinking about what I was going to say on this podcast episode about marriage because I didn't want it to be a rag on session on him, which I could. Really, it was like, what is the crux of it? And I think the philosophy of living was the biggest core of the difference between the two of us. If anyone who really knows me, I live every day. I'm in joy or I'm in anxiety, whatever emotion I'm in, I'm fucking in it. And I want to experience life. I want to talk to people. I want to do a cold plunge in the ocean like I did last Friday with a group of random people. And, I want to travel to Bali. I want to see what the world is and meet lots of people and just kind of experience life. And I'm happy to spend money on experiences. I'm happy to go with lots of different people, but there was a different philosophy of living in regard to spending, saving, waiting till we're older. With this family, and this is what we'll do every holidays for the rest of our lives. And I was like,
very structured
yes.
as well.
For me, that was like clipping my wings. And
absolutely,
that wasn't intentional on his part, but that, again, it's the philosophy of living. That's why he's like, he's happy to do that. Like, feels safe in the predictability, whereas I feel unsafe in predictability because I'm like, well, where's the adventure? It's just completely going against the grain, right? It's different. My parents are also funeral directors, and my grandfather was growing up. So that played a big part in my philosophy of living, because tomorrow isn't guaranteed. And I think the view from his perspective was that that's an irresponsible way of living. But I don't spend a whole bunch of money. I do on op shop stuff. And that was a big fight. I mean, he's like, you always spend crap on money on op shops, which I know James is probably the same. Like, the treasures make me happy. But after a while, it was just such a stress. You know, those little things, lots and lots of little things that was constantly clashing. It's like, God, why can't we just see eye to eye on anything? But like everything was all of a sudden like friction. But I think the older you become, and when you have children, those default settings of how you're raised, but also who you are inherently, the grain of who you are without trying to fluff yourself up, they're so present, and that's who you are. And there is growth, but in the core, that's who you are. And I think it became quite clear that although we were different to begin with, and that was complementary, in the thick of life, it was too opposing. And that was devastating. It was devastating. Yeah. And I went for our second round of counselling.
Was this after you had Daisy?
After we had Daisy, after we moved back to New Zealand, I was just like, fuck, why? I think we're both really frustrated.
Yeah, like
why couldn't it just work? Like, we love each other so much. We love being a family with the kids. But it felt miserable. Like, it felt like I was walking on eggshells. He felt like he could do nothing right. And it was just like, we just kept missing the point. Yeah. And I think we're both like tearing our hair out, like, fuck's sake.
Yeah.
And then we went to this council would have these online sessions. Again, it was like post-COVID times. And our final session with her, she said, okay, so we're going to book for next month. And she said, actually, I don't think there's anything more that we can do.
Really?
There's nothing more that I can suggest. She said,
wow.
You two are just so different.
Wow. Shit.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I was like,
oh God.
Oh no.
Oh shit.
Oh shit. Let that sit. And we kind of laughed because we were like,
what do we do now then?
The counsellor said we're fucked.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like, what do we do?
Oh my God.
And then I felt like pressure just got worse, and you take it out on each other. There's a frustration. Yeah. And
you're also in the thick of little kids as well, you know, like that's another pressure to add to a marriage.
Yes. Oh, yeah. And I was still little.
If you're not on the same page with life, that's another pressure
very
that
little
gets added into it, because they were really little.
When we did separate, Wilbur was just turned 6 and Daisy was almost 3. So they were still very little. And I'd honestly never ever thought about divorce or separation. It was never an option because I loved him. He loved me. I was like, I've tried everything, but how are we going to figure it out? And that was from me, like, how are we going to fix it? And he was just like, it's just hard, and we just have to just push through it. And I'm like, I don't think I can put like it was draining me. I was exhausted. I started having panic attacks. And it's just not a nice way to live, especially with the kids.
No.
And then we went to stay with this family, and he just sort of disappeared, and I was like, what do I do? You know, it's sort of very much like, he's going to go here, and I'm like, oh shit, what do I do? And his mum could see that I was just like fembotting out, like sitting there kind of shaking and like, oh my God. So I left, I went to town. Just like, I didn't know what to do with myself. I just didn't know what to do. And I found a park in the town. I didn't really know. I hadn't been in the town for a while. And I parked the car, and I didn't know. I just was like, I'll just get out of the car. And I looked up, and there was this bridal studio that I could see. And it was the first time that thought ever came to me of, I wonder what it would be like to marry somebody who was more like me. I wonder what it would be like to be in a more easygoing marriage. And I'd never thought that before.
Really?
And I'd never, because I was determined. I was like, I can ease mine. I've got the ring on the finger, and this is we're gonna work. It's gonna happen. So that was the first time that I ever thought, fuck, divorce. I actually can't keep doing this. And it's not my mental health. My mental health is suffering because of our friction. And then I went and brought myself a journal and just wrote everything out, going, what do I want to feel like? What do I want a relationship to be like? And then it was about 2 or 3 months after that, we'd had a fight. It was a very ugly one. And I ended up leaving with the kids for 2 or 3 days. And he didn't contact me that whole time. And so in my mind, that was that moment. So I talked to my parents and I was like, I think this is it because we've just been struggling. And then text me on the 3rd day going, thanks for giving me some space. You can come home now. It's just like, man, I actually can't keep doing this. So I went home and I said, I think it's time that we start a separation. And it was fucking devastating. It was a couple of days before Christmas, which I hear is when a lot of couples do separate because the intensity of normal life amplifies because of Christmas, money, everything. It's like a pressure cooker. And we still did Christmas together, but it was really, I felt a bit numb. And he was quite shocked that...
What did he say? Was he like, okay?
He said, did
he try and fight it?
He said, you've talked about separation before, but I never thought you'd actually do it. Then, we stayed in the house together, put it on the market for 4 months, and then, separated.
And how did you explain it to the children, or when did you explain it to the children?
I can't remember exactly because we stayed in the house together for 4 months, and so I think we just kept things basically normal.
On the down low, and
Daisy was very little. And because the kids were quite small, I think we had to have quite a few conversations over the months and even the first year. And when Daisy was a little bit older, so when she was about 4.5, 5, she said, why do you and Dad live in different houses? Because you're married. So it was still, the perception, because as they grow and they see the world and, everything changes. So it was not just one conversation.
It's a lot.
It was lots of conversations that, because we kept things very amicable, very family-like. We wanted to stay like a family for the kids so that we would take them to different things together as a family unit. We'd still do Christmas morning together and things like that. So they still felt
like it was a family, but you just lived in separate places.
Yeah. And we still want that. So we don't want them to feel like there's any animosity between us.
No.
Because in a lot of ways there isn't. Sometimes there's bloody frustrations and I piss him off and he pisses me off for sure. But we keep that away from the kids as much as humanly possible because for them and their upbringing, it's more important that they see us as having a healthy dynamic together or not. And if we were together, I think they would have seen a very toxic and unhealthy dynamic had we kept going.
That's the thing.
And what's more important?
Exactly. I think you guys, you do a good job. Obviously, it's very hard and difficult co-parenting, but the kids don't see a lot of, behind the scenes thing. But I think you do a good job.
I think we do too. And I don't think a lot of other couples have been able to have that dynamic that we have maintained. We're 3.5 years separated now and officially divorced.
Definitely takes 2 years, right, for the divorce to actually be final.
We can't even apply for a divorce until you've been separated for 2 years.
2 years, that's it.
Yeah, and then you can apply for it. It's
crazy.
It's a lot of paperwork. It's a lot of paperwork.
And I think that's another thing that people are afraid of with divorce is the admin and the separating of things.
Of property,
of the co-parenting. Some people, I have heard, it's just stay in it because it's too hard.
Yes. They fear that they'll be worse off in a lot of different ways.
Like financially.
Because with my work as a nurse for mothers and babies, there's a lot of women who the dynamic has become so toxic, so abusive, so unhealthy that there's a very real concern about leaving, and it can be a safety issue as well. And so it's really important to gather all the information before making the decision and make sure that you are aware of services like legal aid. Most lawyers do take people who, I think it's WINS, end up paying for the legal bills. So you can get a lawyer. And I think people think, well, I can't afford a lawyer, but that's okay. Because if you are on sole parent support, you will be able to have assistance with that. There is so much support out there for women, even just exploring what the options are. So knowledge is power, and it's really important to empower yourself with the knowledge of what resources are available. Even Women's Refuge website have a lot of good information, a lot of good resources, social working support.
So I suppose, is there any advice you would give to anybody who is thinking about divorce or going through divorce?
Firstly, for the women who are thinking about divorce, I think it's really important, again, to empower yourself with the knowledge of what that would look like and what those initial stages are. Because sometimes it can be overwhelming to think, well, you just don't know really the
Yeah.
nitty gritty of it. And so I would start having a look online. The lawyers, the WIN support that you can have, even initially, is really important. So that you understand what you are entitled to, what it might look like, and even going to see a lawyer to talk
Yeah.
about your unique position. Do you own the house together? Do you even have your
Yeah.
own income? Because a lot of women
At the stay-at-home mum.
are stay-at-home mums. They don't have any money to,
Mm-hmm.
to save or to move out and get a house and things like that. So they can feel quite stuck. The lawyers are the ones who are going to help you separate the family, separate the finances and all parenting agreements and things like that. So that would
Yeah.
be the first point of call.
Yeah. Yeah. And people can probably do that without their husband knowing, right?
Absolutely.
So if they're
Absolutely.
thinking about it, they can go and have a look at the options for that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And those who are going through divorce, it's not an easy decision. So I understand it's a very polarizing experience because you feel a grief for the love that you had and for the vision of the life that you wanted with this person and that you wanted for your family. And I still feel grief around that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to cry again.
Yeah.
But you do, because you're like, you love
Yeah.
that person so much
Yeah.
that you had babies with them and
Yeah.
you're always going to be in their life. They're always going to be in your life.
Exactly, yeah.
But for whatever reason, it didn't work. So there is that. And then there's that feeling of, oh my gosh, I can breathe.
Yeah.
I don't have to walk on eggshells. There's a sense of peace that I haven't known for a long time.
Yeah.
And then there's your children's experience of separation and
Yeah.
confusion and acting out and things. So there's a lot of really big emotions to navigate.
Yeah.
So going through divorce, I say, give yourself a lot of kindness, a lot of grace in this time. I remember I just slept. The weekends I didn't have the kids, I just slept and slept.
Yeah.
And then I'd paint a room in my new house, and then I'd sleep, and then I'd rip out the garden, and then I'd sleep again. So you're grieving, and then you also feel safe enough to rest. Because if you've been walking on eggshells or feeling stressed, gosh, you've been functioning in fight or flight for
absolutely. For
sometimes
however many
years. So your body really does need to feel, when it does feel safe again once you're in a different place, it's amazing how much rest you need.
Yeah.
It's almost like making up for that time.
Yeah, totally.
And also having counselling.
That's good.
As
Good
as
idea. Yeah.
frequently as you can afford. Again,
Yeah.
there are low cost counsellors. There's EAP if you are employed. So it's really important to help just process those different things that are coming up, because there will be so much.
Yeah. And it can probably go on for years after as well, right?
I think it never
different things can
Yeah.
trigger different memories and emotions.
Absolutely. And because you still have to co-parent with them.
Exactly.
So you triggered often. But those initial stages, I had some really good counselors. I love my spiritual practices. So I had a lot of energy healing sessions. I didn't feel like writing down anything. So I just, meditation, sound healing.
Yeah.
Just go to Reiki sessions, just heal me.
No. We could probably chat. We could do 10 episodes.
We could do 100
on
years
this, you
on
know?
this. Being a divorce is similar to being in a relationship. You can only control you and your actions, your words, your actions. You can never control what the other person's going to do, right? I've been lucky in that respect that even though we couldn't make our relationship work, we've been able to keep the communication mostly respectful and mostly civil, more so than I've heard. So as much as you can, I know the triggers. I know that feeling. As much as you can, keep it, even if it's neutral. If keeping communication neutral is the best you can do that. Because I feel like attracts like, and you can make yourself sick and more stressed by continuing that dynamic. Even no matter how angry and pissed off you are, if you continue that, you realize how drained it actually makes you feeling like that without even them doing anything, feeling that's hard, and that is very, very challenging, especially in the initial stages. But I'm 3.5 years out. So protecting your peace is the number one advice that I have during a divorce.
Love that. Love it. It's good. I'm sure there will
Divorce.
be many people that will relate as well. And maybe we can even put up a little question box if anyone has any questions for our divorcee.
We'll say. Not that I'm an expert. Still learning.
We will move on to our little segment of exposing the group chat.
It's always so good. Our group chat is like we have to scroll for about 5 minutes.
So what are you going to expose out of our group chat this week, Miss Amy?
Well, we motivated each other to do a clear out come school holidays, which is like the worst time to do a clear out.
It is.
It really is. I don't know what the fuck we're thinking. But it seemed like a good idea at the time, and I can't even remember what prompted it. Anyway, we got into this clearing out buzz.
We did.
Which created so much stress and anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided, this is when the kids were away, I decided to clean out my wardrobe, which was just a big pit of despair. Shoes and old clothes and all sorts. And then I found my special box of toys.
Sure.
They couldn't fit in the nightstand anymore. There were so many of them that I've collected over the years. They're all the dud ones. You know, you buy some and you don't know if they're any good. They're all the ones who are like, okay, that's gone in the pit of doom. And so I pulled this box out and it was quite a decent box. It's like, what the fuck am I going to do with all this stuff? And I was taking a whole bunch of stuff down to the Salvation Army and I messaged the girls and I sent them a photo.
Like voice noted us.
It was this massive big like suction dildo, which I didn't think 8 inches was that big, but it is.
It was pretty.
It was
big.
actually quite funny. Like swung it around like woo! That would probably kill someone if you hit them in the head with it. Maybe I should have kept it just for safety. That's what they all say. And he was like, I think I know the answer, but am I guessing that this is probs inappropriate to give to the Sallies?
It was so good. And then we were all having it. Probably not a good idea.
I mean, there were 4 packets of unopened cock rings, so... These cock rings are up for grabs at the Sallies.
We were just picturing all the old nanas who work there that are like, oh, Lord, oh, goodness me, what is this?
They gave us a good laugh. And then so I ended up putting it in the bin. But then when the rubbish man came on Thursday, I was like, oh my God. It was really windy that day. I was like, oh my God.
Out of the bin. It's on the middle of the road.
Big dildo like swamping about at Ian's place.
Oh my God.
My next door neighbour.
That is so good. I can't remember what I was going to expose. What was I going to expose?
Our shopping.
Oh,
yeah. Decluttering.
So without decluttering, me and my husband decluttered our kitchen, dining room and our pantry. But without decluttering, we then decided we needed a Kmart trip to replace everything.
Absolutely. It's basic feng shui.
Yeah. And Amanda was sick, so she didn't come to our early morning Sunday Kmart trip.
Best time to go.
It was so good. I was like, oh, I'm going to go tomorrow morning once kids are up. I'm going to leave them with the dad and I'm going to Kmart. Anyone want to come? So Amy came with me and we got there at like 8:30 and oh my gosh, no one was there. Shelves were stocked. It was fantastic.
Lots of parts.
We both had a trolley each and they were full to the brim. Mostly with your stuff, I'm going to say.
That chair.
Amy bought this massive chair and we're like trying to like hold on to it down the aisles. We sent Amanda a video and we're like, look at what we brought. So that was really fun. We got Kmart has got the goods at the moment. We got quite a lot of stuff from there. It was great. It was fantastic.
We've still got a big long list of stuff.
We do. We need to go back. So Amanda wants to go back too. So we're all going to go back and get 2 trolleys each.
Yes.
I hope my husband's not listening to this.
Yeah.
I'm going to block him from listening to this.
We should
I'll be in trouble.
Like, husbands and boyfriends, stop listening here.
Anyway, I think I need to go and pick up my child from kindy soon. But thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening.
We will have another episode coming next week. I don't know what we're going to be talking about next week, but we will let you know. And yeah, see you later.
See ya. Adios.